All right, let's just dive right in. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful piece of allegorical writing called The Galactic Council Roasting of Asphaltica. Now, this isn't just some sci-fi story. Think of it more like a cosmic trial, a cautionary tale about a whole civilization that completely lost its way.
And wow, the source material just throws you right into this epic scene. I mean, forget about some stuffy old courtroom. The setting here is the entire cosmos. You've got galaxies as the jury, stars leaning in to get a better look, and comets streaking by like exclamation points. That's the kind of epic scale we're dealing with.
So, the case against Asphaltica, it's built by taking a wrecking ball to its core institutions, what the text calls its pillars of failure. One by one, these incredible cosmic beings step up to testify against the very foundations of the society.
And the first pillar to get absolutely demolished is education. The elder of supernovas comes out swinging, basically accusing the schools of being factories, not for creating wise citizens, but for churning out compliant, totally exhausted workers. It is such a damning opening statement.
And this right here boils that whole charge down to its toxic core. The ultimate crime of their education system was taking that natural, boundless wonder that every kid has and just systematically crushing it until it became resentment. What a cosmic waste of light. Okay, let's move on to the next pillar, the justice system. The comet messenger, who sounds like they're just spitting fire, describes the courts not as halls of justice, but as this cruel, pointless performance. And that phrase, robed priests of paperwork, wow, it just paints this vivid picture of a system that's completely obsessed with procedure instead of principles. And this gets to the absolute heart of it. Justice wasn't about fairness at all. It was just a sick show, a spectacle where freedom was basically a luxury item that only the rich could afford. The system wasn't broken, no, it was designed to be this way. So the final pillar they put on trial is the media, and the Star Warden's testimony is just ice cold and brutally precise. The media wasn't a watchdog for the people. It was more like a circus ringmaster, expertly pointing everyone's attention away from anything that actually mattered.
So the media's real job wasn't to inform, it was to intoxicate. It sold illusions, distractions, basically shadows on a cave wall, and had the nerve to call it vision. This was a complete and total failure of truth itself.
Okay, so we've seen it. The schools, the courts, the media, all of them. Total failures. But you have to ask, why? Were these just like isolated problems? Well, the text suggests there was something way deeper going on. A single toxic philosophy that poisoned absolutely everything. Right. What was it? What was that single corrupting idea that caused the entire civilization to just rot from the inside out? And the answer, which comes from the nebular elder, is just so profound. The rot wasn't incompetence or just some bad luck. It was a commandment. It was a core ideology. The principle of artificial scarcity. They deliberately made the most essential human experiences incredibly rare. So let's be super clear about what this means. The great, terrible innovation of Asphaltica was convincing its people that suffering was normal, that it was necessary, that things which should be totally free, like joy, peace, laughter, were actually commodities that you had to earn, usually by being miserable. This comparison just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? It's absolutely stark. They took all the best parts of being alive, laughter, play, peace, and they twisted them into scarce resources. They built an entire society on the premise that life is supposed to be a struggle for things that should be freely given to everyone.
So, all the evidence has been presented. The core crime has been identified. There's only one thing left to do. Let's get to the climax of this whole story, the final binding judgment delivered by the Galactic Council. The final speaker, the Galactic Weaver, comes forward. And the verdict? It isn't about guilt or innocence. It's about something so much deeper. Not guilty, but bankrupt of meaning. Imagine that. A society so hollow, so empty, that it has literally no cosmic value left.
And this judgment just unfolds in 4 universe-altering steps. First, the declaration of bankruptcy. Second, they expose all their false gods and leaders as total frauds. Third, they demote it from a civilization to just a warning, a scary story.
And finally, and this part is so crucial, they empower the people who had been oppressed to write a brand new future for themselves. And the reaction from the council wasn't sadness or anger. It was laughter, mockery. Asphaltica wasn't just condemned, it was cosmically humiliated. Its failure was so complete, it literally became the punchline of the galaxies. So, with the verdict delivered, Asphaltica stops being a place and it becomes an idea, a cautionary myth. Let's really distill the final takeaways here. The warnings that this story is meant to leave all of us with. This myth leaves us with 4 huge blinking red lights. First, beware any education system that serves obedience instead of wisdom. Second, beware any justice system that's just a performance of punishment. Third, beware any media that cares more about distracting you than telling you the truth. And maybe the most important of all, beware any society built on the lie that joy is a scarce commodity. You know, at the end of the day, the story of Asphaltica is a myth, sure, but its warnings, they don't feel distant at all, do they? And so the question it leaves us with is a really profound one. As we look around at our own world, what parts of this cautionary tale should we be paying the most attention to?